Listen carefully. The calmer you become, the more powerful you are. While everyone else is panicking, reacting, arguing, and losing control, the calm person sees clearly. The calm person thinks better. The calm person wins. Because true strength is not loud. True strength is silent. And in today's world, staying calm is a superpower. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel for more powerful Stoic lessons that will strengthen your mind, sharpen your discipline, and help you become emotionally unstoppable. Now, take a deep breath. And let's begin. There will always be chaos around you. People will disappoint you. Life will test you. Plans will fail. Unexpected pain will arrive without warning. But Stoicism teaches something most people never learn. You do not control what happens. You control how you respond. That is where peace begins. A wise man once sat quietly inside a crowded restaurant while two men nearby argued loudly. Insults filled the room. Anger spread everywhere. But the old man calmly continued drinking his tea. One of the angry men finally turned and asked, "How can you sit there so peacefully while everything around you is so irritating?" The old man smiled and replied, "Because their storm does not have to become mine." That is the mindset you must build. Not every problem deserves your emotions. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every battle deserves your energy. Most people destroy themselves trying to react to everything around them. But calm people protect their peace like treasure. And once you understand this, your entire life changes. Your mind becomes dangerous when it is undisciplined. Fear grows. Overthinking grows. Anxiety grows. The mind starts creating problems that do not even exist. A young man once received a message from his boss saying, "We need to talk tomorrow." That one sentence destroyed his entire night. He imagined being fired. He imagined failure. He imagined embarrassment. He could not sleep. The next morning, he entered the office with fear in his eyes. His boss smiled and said, "I wanted to congratulate you on your promotion." Imagine that. He suffered deeply over something that never happened. This is why Stoics trained their minds daily. They understood that the imagination can become a prison. Most pain is not reality. Most pain is anticipation. Calmness comes when you stop believing every fearful thought that enters your head. Sometimes your mind lies to you. And wisdom is learning when not to listen. One of the greatest secrets of peace is accepting what you cannot control. You cannot control people. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the past. You cannot control how quickly success arrives. But you can always control yourself. A sailor once found himself trapped in a violent storm at sea. The waves were massive. The sky was dark. The crew panicked. But the captain remained calm. One frightened sailor shouted, "How can you stay so relaxed right now?" The captain answered, "Fear cannot stop the storm. But calmness can help us survive it." That is Stoicism. Most people waste energy fighting reality. They complain about things they cannot change. They resist situations already happening. And because of that, they suffer twice. The Stoics understood that peace begins with acceptance. Not weakness. Not surrender. Acceptance. When you stop fighting reality, your mind becomes lighter. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons you will ever develop. Weak people feel the need to prove themselves constantly. Strong people do not. A young businessman once presented his idea to a room full of investors. Before he even finished speaking, people laughed at him. They mocked his dream. They mocked his vision. They told him it would never work. But he stayed calm. He did not argue. He did not beg for validation. He simply smiled and continued building quietly. Years later, the same people who laughed at him asked him for opportunities. Silence protected his focus. You must understand this deeply. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Sometimes the best response is no response. Silence protects energy. Silence protects clarity. Silence protects peace. And the older you become, the more valuable silence feels. Many people lose their peace because they desperately want approval. They want everyone to like them. Everyone to support them. Everyone to understand them. But that will never happen. A father and his son once traveled through a village with their horse. At first, both walked beside the horse. People criticized them saying, "How foolish. They have a horse but still walk." So the father rode the horse while the son walked. Soon another group criticized them saying, "What a selfish father." Then the son rode while the father walked. Another crowd judged the son for disrespect. Finally, both rode the horse together. Another group accused them of overworking the animal. The father eventually smiled and said, "No matter what we do, people will always judge. That is life. If you live for people's approval, you will never have peace." Stoicism teaches you to stop chasing validation. Do what is right. Walk your path. Remain calm. Because people's opinions change like the wind. Hard times reveal who you truly are. Anybody can stay calm when life feels easy. But pressure exposes character. A blacksmith places iron into fire before shaping it with heavy blows. Without fire, the iron remains weak. Without struggle, people remain fragile. A man once lost his job unexpectedly. Bills piled up. Friends disappeared. Fear entered his life. At first, he panicked. But then he remembered something his grandfather once told him: calmness in hard times is strength. So instead of collapsing emotionally, he stayed disciplined. He woke up early. He learned new skills. He controlled his thoughts. He kept moving forward. Years later, he admitted that losing that job became the greatest turning point of his life. Sometimes life breaks your comfort to build your strength. Do not panic during difficult seasons. Storms do not last forever. Most insults are not truly about you. People project their pain onto others. An insecure person attacks others. An angry person spreads anger. A miserable person spreads negativity. A cashier once dealt with a customer who screamed at her aggressively over a small mistake. Everyone expected her to react. But instead, she calmly replied, "I hope your day gets better." The angry customer suddenly became quiet. Later, another employee asked her, "How did you stay so calm?" She replied, "Maybe he's fighting something I cannot see." That response shows emotional mastery. Stoicism teaches compassion without weakness. Sometimes calmness is understanding that other people's behavior reflects their inner battles. Do not absorb every emotion around you. Protect your peace. Anger destroys intelligence. In moments of rage, people say things they regret forever. They destroy relationships. They destroy opportunities. They destroy themselves. A king once became furious after hearing false accusations about one of his loyal soldiers. Without investigating properly, he ordered punishment immediately. Hours later, the truth came out. The soldier was innocent. But it was too late. The king spent years regretting one emotional decision made in anger. This is why Stoics valued pause. Pause before reacting. Pause before speaking. Pause before deciding. Emotion fades with time. But consequences often remain. A calm mind sees clearly. An emotional mind sees only chaos. One of the most powerful things you can learn is how to walk away peacefully. Not every argument needs your participation. Some people only want conflict. Two strangers once argued loudly in the street while a wise old man walked past them quietly. One angry man shouted, "Hey old man, tell us who is right." The old man smiled and said, "The person who protects their peace." Then he kept walking. That answer confused them. But it contained wisdom. Sometimes winning an argument costs your peace. And peace is too expensive to lose over meaningless battles. Walking away is not weakness. It is emotional discipline. Many people ruin today by worrying about tomorrow. They imagine disasters before they happen. They fear outcomes they cannot control. But Stoicism teaches presence. Focus on today. A farmer once spent every day worrying about future droughts. He stressed constantly about problems that never arrived. Meanwhile, another farmer focused calmly on daily work. Year after year, the calm farmer succeeded while the fearful one exhausted himself mentally. Worry steals energy from the present. Most of the things you fear will never happen. And if they do happen, you will handle them when the time comes. So breathe. Focus on today. Peace lives in the present moment. The strongest people spend time alone. Not because they hate people, but because solitude builds clarity. A young warrior once asked a wise master, "How do I become mentally strong?" The master took him far into the mountains where there was no noise, no distractions, and no crowds. For days they sat quietly. At first, the young warrior became uncomfortable. Then slowly, something changed. His mind became clearer. His emotions became calmer. His thoughts became deeper. Finally, the master said, "Silence reveals who you truly are." Modern life is full of distractions. Noise everywhere. Opinions everywhere. Pressure everywhere. But peace grows in silence. Spend time alone. Reflect deeply. Know yourself. A person who understands themselves cannot easily be controlled by the world. Everything in life is temporary. Pain is temporary. Failure is temporary. Success is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. A rich king once lost his kingdom during a war. He became hopeless and depressed. An old philosopher visited him and handed him a ring engraved with 4 words. "This too shall pass." Years later, the king rebuilt his life and became successful again. But even during victory, he still looked at the ring. Because he understood something important. Both pain and pleasure are temporary. That realization creates calmness. When hard times arrive, remember, they will pass. And when success arrives, remain humble. Because life changes quickly. Real strength is internal. Many people appear confident on the outside but collapse under pressure. Stoicism focuses on inner power. A businessman once lost almost everything during an economic crisis. His friends panicked. Many gave up. But he stayed calm. Every morning he repeated, "As long as I control myself, I have not lost everything." Slowly he rebuilt his life. Years later, someone asked him how he survived those dark days. He replied, "I lost money, not my mind." That is true strength. The strongest person in the room is often the calmest one. Gratitude creates peace. People suffer because they focus constantly on what is missing. A poor man complained every day about his life. Small house. Little money. Too many struggles. One day he visited a hospital and saw people praying simply for another chance to live. That experience changed him forever. Suddenly, he became grateful for ordinary things, his health, his breath, his family, another sunrise. Gratitude shifts perspective. And perspective changes emotion. A grateful mind becomes a peaceful mind. The greatest battle you will ever fight is the battle within yourself. Your anger. Your ego. Your fear. Your impatience. That is the real enemy. A famous warrior was once challenged publicly by a younger fighter who insulted him repeatedly. The crowd expected violence. But the older warrior remained calm. Finally, he turned and walked away. People mocked him saying, "You were afraid." The warrior smiled and answered, "The moment another person controls my emotions, I become weak." That is mastery. Self-control is the highest form of power. Anyone can react. Few people can remain calm under pressure. So remember this. When life becomes difficult, stay calm. When people disrespect you, stay calm. When success feels delayed, stay calm. Because calmness is not weakness. It is control. And in a world where everybody reacts emotionally, calmness makes you rare. It makes you powerful. It makes you dangerous in silence. Have you ever watched someone lose control and destroy everything in 1 minute? One angry reply. One emotional decision. One moment of weakness. That is all it takes. But the calm person walks through chaos like a king walking through rain. And today, you will learn why staying calm is the most dangerous power you can ever develop. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with someone who needs inner strength. Because this is not just motivation. This is Stoicism. There is a strange kind of power in calmness. Most people think strength is loud. They think power means dominating every room, arguing harder, speaking faster, proving yourself constantly. But the Stoics believed something different. Real power is control. And the hardest thing to control is yourself. When life attacks you, when people disrespect you, when plans collapse, when emotions rise inside your chest like fire, can you remain calm? Most people cannot. That is why they suffer. Marcus Aurelius once ruled an empire filled with war, betrayal, disease, and pressure beyond imagination. Yet he reminded himself daily. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That is the Stoic way. Not controlling the world. Controlling your reaction to the world. And once you understand this, your life changes forever. A young man once walked into a small restaurant after losing his job. His face was filled with anger. He blamed everyone. The economy. His boss. His family. Even his friends. He sat down and began shouting on the phone. Everyone stared at him. At another table sat an old man quietly drinking tea. Calm. Relaxed. Silent. After the young man finished his angry rant, the old man simply said, "Your anger is punishing you more than life ever did." The young man laughed. But years later, he would understand those words. Because anger destroys judgment. When emotions control you, you become weak without realizing it. You say things you regret. You push people away. You make terrible decisions. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural, but becoming a slave to them is dangerous. Calmness gives clarity. And clarity gives power. One of the greatest skills you can learn is the ability to pause. Not react instantly. Not explode immediately. Not defend yourself every second. Pause. Because most damage in life happens in moments of reaction. A husband destroys his marriage with one sentence. A friend ruins trust over one emotional outburst. A worker loses opportunities because of pride. But calm people think before they act. That is why they win. Imagine two men standing in a storm. One panics, screams, and runs in circles. The other studies the storm quietly and finds shelter. The storm is the same. The mindset is different. There was once a warrior in ancient times known for never losing control during battle. His soldiers admired him because even when arrows filled the sky, his face remained calm. One day a young soldier asked him, "How are you never afraid?" The warrior replied, "I am afraid. But panic would kill me faster than the enemy." That is wisdom. Stoicism is not about feeling nothing. It is about refusing to let fear control your actions. Courage is calm under pressure. Anyone can stay peaceful when life is easy. But can you stay calm when your plans fail? When someone insults you? When nobody believes in you? When life becomes unfair? That is the real test. Most people live emotionally addicted lives. They wake up and instantly react to everything. Notifications control them. Opinions control them. Drama controls them. Fear controls them. They are constantly mentally exhausted. Stoicism teaches you to protect your inner peace like treasure. Not every message deserves a response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every battle deserves your energy. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. A lion does not turn around every time a dog barks. Remember that. There is a story about a businessman who lost millions overnight. People expected him to collapse emotionally. But the next morning he calmly sat at breakfast reading the newspaper. Someone asked him, "How are you this calm after losing everything?" He replied, "If I lose my mind too, then I truly lose everything." That is the mindset of strong people. Life can take money, opportunities, relationships, but never allow it to take your peace. Because a calm mind can rebuild anything. The world respects emotional control more than emotional chaos. Think about the people you admire most. The strongest leaders. The wisest teachers. The most respected individuals. They are rarely the loudest person in the room. They move with calm energy. Because panic spreads weakness. Calmness spreads confidence. When you stay calm during hard moments, people begin trusting you more. Why? Because calmness signals strength. It tells the world, I can handle pressure. And pressure reveals character. A young athlete once trained under a strict coach. Every time he made mistakes, he became frustrated and angry. One day the coach handed him a glass full of water and said, "Carry this while I insult you." The coach shouted at him the entire time. But the athlete focused only on the water. Not one drop spilled. The coach smiled and said, "That is focus. That is calmness. The world will always distract you. Your job is not to spill your energy everywhere." That lesson changed his life forever. Many people waste their peace reacting to every little thing. Stoicism teaches selective attention. Focus only on what truly matters. Sometimes calmness looks like walking away. Not every argument deserves your participation. Not every disrespect deserves revenge. Some people are addicted to conflict. They want reactions. They feed on emotional chaos. When you remain calm, you deny them power. That is why calm people often intimidate emotional people. Because emotional people cannot predict them. A calm person thinks clearly while others lose control. And clarity is dangerous. Imagine a lake during a storm. When the water is disturbed, you cannot see clearly. But when the water becomes still, everything becomes visible. Your mind works the same way. An agitated mind creates confusion. A calm mind reveals solutions. That is why Stoics practiced silence, reflection, and self-discipline daily. Not because life was easy, but because life was difficult. Calmness is trained. One man spent years chasing success desperately. He worked constantly. Compared himself endlessly. Stressed every day. Even after becoming successful, he still felt empty. Then one day he met a monk who told him, "You have conquered many things except your own mind." That sentence hit him deeply. Because external success means nothing if internally you are always at war with yourself. Many people look successful outside but are collapsing inside. Stoicism teaches inner stability. A peaceful mind is true wealth. There is a reason people fear calm individuals. Because calm people are difficult to manipulate. If compliments do not control you. If insults do not control you. If pressure does not control you. Then people lose power over you. Emotional discipline creates freedom. Most people become prisoners of emotions. One bad comment ruins their day. One rejection destroys their confidence. One setback makes them quit. But Stoics understand something powerful. Everything passes. Pain passes. Embarrassment passes. Failure passes. So why destroy your peace over temporary moments? A father once taught his son an important lesson. Every time the son became angry, the father told him to hammer a nail into a wooden fence. The first day, the boy hammered dozens of nails. But slowly, he learned to control his anger. Eventually, there were no more nails. Then the father said, "Now remove them." The boy did. But the holes remained. The father looked at him and said, "Anger leaves scars even after the words are gone. Never forget that." Calmness protects relationships. Calmness protects decisions. Calmness protects your future. One of the most powerful Stoic habits is negative visualization. Instead of constantly fearing loss, Stoics imagine difficult situations before they happened. Not to become pessimistic, but to become prepared. When you mentally prepare for hardship, panic decreases. A calm mind says, "If challenges come, I will handle them." This creates resilience. The world becomes less frightening when you stop expecting perfection. Because life was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to test you. There will be moments in your life when people misunderstand you. They may judge you unfairly. Mock your silence. Doubt your abilities. Stay calm. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Sometimes people project their own chaos onto others. Do not absorb it. A tree does not stop growing because someone insults its roots. Keep growing quietly. A boxer once explained why he rarely got angry before fights. He said, "Anger wastes energy. Calmness sharpens me." That applies to life too. When you are emotional, you lose precision. You stop thinking strategically. Stoicism teaches emotional mastery because life rewards clear thinkers. Not emotional reactors. There is beauty in becoming emotionally independent. Imagine reaching a point where your happiness no longer depends on constant validation. No longer desperate for approval. No longer crushed by rejection. No longer controlled by opinions. That is freedom. Most people are emotionally controlled by the outside world. Stoicism teaches inner authority. Your peace belongs to you. Protect it. An old fisherman once faced a violent storm at sea. The younger fisherman panicked. But the old man calmly guided his boat through the waves. After surviving, someone asked him, "How were you so calm?" He answered, "The storm does not care about fear. So fear would not help me survive." Powerful words. Fear rarely solves problems. Calm action does. One reason modern people struggle mentally is because their minds never rest. Constant noise. Constant comparison. Constant stimulation. Stoicism encourages silence. Moments alone. Moments to think. Moments to observe yourself honestly. Because self-awareness creates self-control. And self-control creates peace. There is a difference between suppression and discipline. Stoicism does not teach pretending emotions do not exist. It teaches understanding emotions without obeying them blindly. You can feel anger without becoming destructive. You can feel sadness without losing hope. You can feel fear without surrendering. That is emotional maturity. A king once asked a philosopher, "What is the secret to remaining calm?" The philosopher handed him a ring with words engraved inside. This too shall pass. When happiness came, remember it passes. When pain came, remember it passes. Life is temporary. And understanding this gives perspective. Do not panic over temporary storms. The calmest people are often the strongest because they have fought internal battles nobody saw. They learned patience through suffering. Wisdom through mistakes. Discipline through pain. Never mistake calmness for weakness. Still water can be incredibly deep. Many people destroy opportunities because they cannot control emotions. They quit too early. Speak too quickly. React too emotionally. Patience is power. Sometimes your greatest victory comes from doing nothing emotionally reckless. Just staying composed. Just enduring. Just remaining steady while others collapse. Imagine if every insult no longer disturbed you. Imagine if every setback no longer broke you. Imagine the freedom of emotional control. That is what Stoicism offers. Not a perfect life. But a stronger mind. And a stronger mind changes everything. There is an old saying. The best revenge is to remain unshaken. Not obsessed. Not bitter. Not emotionally destroyed. Simply focused. Disciplined. Calm. Nothing confuses toxic people more than your peace. Because they expected your breakdown. Instead, they found your strength. One day, life will test you unexpectedly. Not with easy moments. But with pressure. Loss. Fear. Disappointment. Failure. And in those moments, your calmness will become your greatest weapon. Because panic blinds people. But calmness sees clearly. So from this day forward, train yourself. Pause before reacting. Breathe before speaking. Think before exploding. Protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. The Stoic does not seek control over the world. The Stoic seeks control over the self. And that changes everything. If this video helped you, share your thoughts in the comments. What is one situation where staying calm changed your life? There is a reason silence makes certain people uncomfortable. Because silence cannot be controlled easily. When you speak too much, people learn your weaknesses. They learn your emotions. They learn how to provoke you. But calm silence creates mystery. The Stoics understood this deeply. That is why they observed more than they reacted. A wise man once entered a meeting where everyone was arguing loudly. Voices were rising. Egos were clashing. Everyone wanted to prove themselves right. But one man remained completely silent. At the end of the meeting, the owner walked directly to him and asked, "What do you think we should do?" Why? Because calm people appear trustworthy. Silence often carries more authority than noise. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Most people are addicted to reacting. They react to criticism. React to gossip. React to social media. React to opinions. But reaction is weakness when it becomes automatic. Stoicism teaches conscious response. That means you choose your actions instead of letting emotions choose for you. That is true freedom. Imagine somebody insulting you intentionally just to provoke you. Most people immediately explode. But the Stoic asks, why should another person control my emotions? That single mindset changes everything. There was once a samurai known throughout the land for his discipline. One day, a man insulted him publicly. The crowd waited for the samurai to attack. But he simply smiled and walked away. Later, his student asked, "Master, why did you not fight him?" The samurai replied, "If someone gives you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The student answered, "To the person who offered it." The samurai nodded. The same is true for anger. Powerful. Not every insult belongs inside your mind. Leave negativity where it came from. People often think calmness means weakness because they misunderstand discipline. Anyone can scream. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can become emotional. But staying calm when chaos surrounds you, that takes strength. Think about the ocean. The surface may become violent during storms. But deep below, the water remains still. Become like that. Deeply grounded. One of the greatest forms of emotional maturity is learning not to take everything personally. Sometimes people disrespect you because they are hurting internally. Sometimes people attack others because they hate themselves. Sometimes life becomes difficult for reasons completely outside your control. Stoicism reminds us. You are not responsible for everything that happens. But you are responsible for how you respond. That responsibility is power. A young woman once worked in a toxic office where negativity filled every room. Complaints. Drama. Jealousy. Constant tension. At first, she absorbed all of it emotionally. Every day she went home exhausted. Then she changed one habit. Instead of reacting emotionally, she began observing calmly. She stopped joining gossip. Stopped arguing unnecessarily. Stopped seeking approval. Months later, she realized something shocking. The environment had not changed. She had changed. And because she changed, the environment no longer controlled her peace. That is Stoicism. Calmness is also connected to confidence. People who constantly seek validation become emotionally unstable. One criticism destroys them. One rejection breaks them. One failure makes them doubt themselves. But truly confident people remain calm because their value comes from within. Not from applause. Not from attention. Not from external approval. A mountain does not care if someone praises it. It simply stands tall. Become like that. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. No revenge. No emotional speech. No desperate explanation. Just move forward quietly. There is incredible strength in emotional restraint. Many battles disappear when you refuse to feed them with your energy. An old teacher once drew two wolves on a piece of paper. One wolf represented anger, envy, fear, and chaos. The other represented discipline, wisdom, peace, and patience. The student asked, "Which wolf wins?" The teacher smiled. "The one you feed." Every day, your habits feed either peace or chaos. Every reaction matters. Every thought matters. Every decision shapes your character. Social media has made emotional reactions even more dangerous. People react instantly without thinking. They compare constantly. Argue constantly. Seek attention constantly. Their minds never rest. Stoicism teaches detachment from unnecessary noise. Not every trend matters. Not every opinion matters. Not every argument deserves your attention. Protect your mental energy. Because where attention goes, life follows. There is a hidden advantage calm people have. They think clearly while others panic. In emergencies, emotional people freeze. Calm people adapt. That is why soldiers train repeatedly under pressure. That is why athletes practice discipline daily. Preparation creates calmness. The more disciplined your mind becomes, the less chaos controls you. A man once lost everything in a business collapse. His friends expected depression and bitterness. But months later, he returned stronger than before. When asked how he survived mentally, he said, "I accepted reality quickly instead of fighting it emotionally." Acceptance is powerful. Stoicism teaches that suffering often comes not from events themselves, but from resisting reality. Sometimes peace begins the moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How do I grow through this?" There will always be people who misunderstand your calmness. Some will think you are cold. Others will think you are weak. Others will think you do not care. Let them think what they want. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. A disciplined mind does not perform for the crowd. One of the hardest Stoic lessons is learning to stay calm during success too. Because excitement can destroy judgment just as much as anger. People become arrogant after small victories. Careless after praise. Blind after attention. But Stoicism teaches balance. Remain humble in success. Remain steady in failure. That is emotional mastery. Imagine two fires. One burns wildly, destroying everything quickly. The other burns steadily, providing warmth and light for years. Most people live like the first fire. Emotionally unstable. Impulsive. Burning out constantly. The Stoic lives like the second fire. Controlled. Focused. Enduring. Be the second fire. At some point in life, you will realize that peace is more valuable than proving yourself right. You stop chasing every argument. Stop explaining yourself endlessly. Stop forcing people to understand you. And suddenly, life becomes lighter. That is maturity. A monk was once asked, "What surprises you most about humanity?" He answered, "People sacrifice their peace to gain everything, then lose everything because they sacrificed their peace. Never sacrifice inner stability for temporary emotions. Protect your mind. Protect your spirit. Protect your peace." Many people spend years trying to control others. Trying to control opinions. Trying to control outcomes. Trying to control relationships. But Stoicism says, focus on what is within your control. Your attitude. Your actions. Your mindset. Your discipline. Everything else is temporary. And once you truly understand this, anxiety loses its grip on you. There is something terrifying about a calm person who has suffered deeply. Because they no longer panic easily. Pain taught them patience. Failure taught them resilience. Loneliness taught them self-reliance. Storms no longer scare them because they survived worse already. That is why difficult experiences can become hidden strength. Never underestimate the power of breathing before reacting. One breath can prevent destruction. One pause can save relationships. One calm moment can change your future. That is why Stoics practiced mindfulness long before the modern world gave it a name. They understood. A peaceful mind creates a powerful life. If you are listening right now while fighting silent battles, stay calm. Not because life is easy, but because your mind must remain stronger than your circumstances. You are stronger than temporary emotions. Stronger than panic. Stronger than fear. And every day you remain calm under pressure, you become more powerful than before. So the next time life tests you, do not rush emotionally. Do not panic immediately. Do not lose yourself in anger. Stand still. Breathe deeply. Observe carefully. And remember, calmness is not weakness. Calmness is controlled power. The world will constantly test your patience. Some people will try to provoke you. Some situations will try to break you. Some moments will make you feel like exploding. But every time you choose calmness over chaos, you become stronger. A young man once visited an old Stoic teacher and said, "Master, people keep disrespecting me. What should I do?" The teacher handed him a cup full of water and said, "Walk with this through the village without spilling a drop." The young man obeyed. When he returned, the teacher asked, "Did you hear the people insulting you?" The young man replied, "No. I was too focused on protecting the water." The teacher smiled. That is your answer. Focus on your purpose so deeply that distractions lose their power over you. That lesson changed the young man forever. Most people lose peace because they pay attention to everything around them. Every opinion. Every insult. Every bit of drama. But calm people stay focused. Focus creates peace. You must also learn to stop rushing life. Many people are anxious because they want everything immediately. Immediate success. Immediate results. Immediate answers. But nature itself moves slowly. Trees do not grow overnight. Mountains are not built in a day. Even the strongest man was once weak. A farmer planted bamboo seeds and watered them daily. For years, nothing happened. People mocked him. But he continued patiently watering the ground. Then suddenly, the bamboo grew rapidly within a short time. What people did not see was this: the roots had been growing silently underground the entire time. Your life is the same. Sometimes growth is invisible. Sometimes progress is happening internally before it appears externally. Stay calm during slow seasons. Not all progress can be seen immediately. The Stoics believe that discipline creates freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want. But the Stoics understood that a person ruled by emotion is not free. If anger controls you, you are a slave to anger. If fear controls you, you are a slave to fear. If pleasure controls you, you are a slave to pleasure. Real freedom comes from self-mastery. A man once struggled with explosive anger. Every small inconvenience ruined his mood. One day, his grandfather handed him a nail and a hammer. Every time you lose your temper, the grandfather said, hammer a nail into this fence. The first week, the fence became covered with nails. Slowly, the man learned to control himself. Months later, the grandfather told him to remove one nail every day. He stayed calm. Eventually, all the nails were gone. But the holes remained. The grandfather looked at him and said, anger leaves scars even after the moment passes. That truth stayed with him forever. Control your emotions before they damage your life. There is incredible strength in patience. Patience is not weakness. Patience is controlled power. A lion does not panic while hunting. It waits. Observes. Moves carefully. That calmness is what makes it powerful. A young boxer once entered a competition feeling overconfident and emotional. He attacked wildly and wasted all his energy quickly. His older opponent stayed calm the entire time. Patient. Focused. Controlled. Eventually, the calm fighter won easily. Life works the same way. The emotional person burns out. The calm person endures. Patience gives clarity. And clarity creates better decisions. You must learn to protect your energy. Not everybody deserves access to your mind. Some people bring nothing but negativity. Some conversations only create stress. Some environments slowly destroy peace. A wise woman once kept a beautiful garden. Every day she removed weeds carefully before they spread. Someone asked her, "Why are you so strict about removing small weeds?" She answered, "Because small weeds become big problems if ignored." Your mind is the same. Protect it. Remove toxic influences early. Avoid unnecessary drama. Limit time around constant negativity. Peace grows when you guard your environment carefully. Another important Stoic lesson is this. Do not fear being alone. Many people stay in unhealthy situations because they are afraid of loneliness. Bad friendships. Bad relationships. Bad environments. But peace is more valuable than company. A traveler once entered a crowded and filled with loud and negative people. Instead of staying there, he chose to sleep alone outside under the stars. Another traveler laughed at him and asked, "Why choose loneliness?" The traveler replied, I would rather be alone with peace than surrounded by chaos. That is wisdom. Never sacrifice inner peace just to avoid being alone. Sometimes solitude heals you. The calmest people are usually the deepest thinkers. They observe more than they speak. A young student once interrupted his teacher constantly, always eager to show how much he knew. One day the teacher poured tea into the student's cup until it overflowed. The student shouted, "Stop! The cup is full." The teacher smiled and said, "So is your mind. How can you learn if you are always full of noise?" That moment humbled the student. Calmness allows learning. When your mind is quiet, wisdom enters more easily. Life will sometimes delay your rewards. You will work hard and see no immediate results. That can create frustration. But Stoicism teaches endurance. A stone cutter strikes a rock 100 times without visible change. Then suddenly, on the next strike, the rock breaks apart. Was it only the final strike that mattered? No. Every strike mattered. Success often arrives after long periods of invisible effort. Do not lose peace because results are taking time. Stay disciplined. Stay calm. Keep striking the rock. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Fear becomes smaller when you face life calmly. Most fear grows because people run away from discomfort. A young soldier once admitted to his commander that he was terrified before battle. The commander nodded and said, "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is calmness despite fear." That sentence changed the soldier. You do not need to eliminate fear completely. You only need to stop letting fear control your actions. Calmness under pressure is courage. The Stoics constantly remembered death. Not to become depressed, but to appreciate life. A philosopher once walked through a cemetery daily. Someone asked him, "Why do you come here so often?" He replied, "To remind myself that life is short, so I should not waste it being angry at small things." That perspective changes everything. Most arguments become meaningless. Most worries become small. Most ego battles lose importance. Life is temporary. Do not spend it constantly stressed, angry, or emotionally exhausted. Choose peace while you still can. Sometimes staying calm means accepting that not everyone will understand you. Visionary people are often misunderstood before they are respected. A young artist spent years creating work nobody appreciated. People mocked him constantly. But instead of becoming bitter, he stayed calm and continued improving quietly. Years later, his work became admired worldwide. If he had allowed criticism to destroy his peace, he would have quit too early. Never let temporary opinion stop your long-term purpose. Stay calm enough to continue your journey. There is also power in slowing down your speech. Fast speech often comes from nervousness and emotional pressure. Calm people speak carefully. A judge once noticed that the wisest lawyer in the courtroom spoke the slowest. Every word carried weight. Every sentence was thoughtful. While others argued emotionally, he remained composed. And because of that, people listened carefully when he spoke. Calmness creates presence. When you are emotionally stable, your words become stronger. At some point in life, you will realize this truth. Peace is worth more than proving yourself. More than revenge. More than ego. More than winning arguments. A retired warrior once lived peacefully in a quiet village. One day, a younger fighter arrived and insulted him publicly, hoping to challenge him. The old warrior simply smiled and ignored him. Later, someone asked, "Why didn't you defend your pride?" The warrior answered, "When I was young, I fought to prove myself. Now I protect my peace." That is maturity. Real strength does not need constant validation. Never forget this. Your energy is limited. Where you place your attention shapes your life. If you constantly feed your mind anger, fear, drama, and negativity, your inner world becomes chaotic. But if you feed your mind wisdom, discipline, gratitude, and calmness, your life changes. The Stoics trained daily because they understood something powerful. Peace is not automatic. Peace is practiced. Every calm response strengthens your mind. Every moment of patience builds discipline. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you evolve. So when life tests you again, and it will, stay calm. Not because life is easy, but because your mind has become stronger than the chaos around you. Things, money, attention, status, validation. But they never learn how to master themselves. And because of that, even after achieving success, they still feel restless inside. Stoicism teaches that inner peace is the real wealth. A rich businessman once owned expensive cars, huge houses, and endless luxury. But every night he struggled to sleep. His mind was filled with anxiety. One day, while traveling through a small village, he met an old man sitting peacefully outside a tiny home. The old man had almost nothing materially. Yet his face carried deep peace. The businessman asked, "How are you so calm with so little?" The old man smiled and answered, "Because I learned to need less." That answer stayed in the businessman's mind forever. Many people suffer because their happiness depends on external things. But external things change constantly. Real calmness comes from within. You must learn to stop replaying the past. Some people relive old pain every single day. Old mistakes. Old heartbreaks. Old embarrassments. Their body moves forward, but their mind stays trapped behind. A man once carried a heavy bag of stones everywhere he went. Each stone represented regret from his past. After years of exhaustion, an old traveler asked him, "Why do you keep carrying those stones?" The man replied, "Because they are part of my story." The traveler smiled gently and said, "Yes, but they do not have to become your prison." That moment changed him. The past cannot be changed. But your relationship with the past can. Learn from it. Grow from it. Then let it go. Peace comes when you stop reopening old wounds. Another Stoic lesson is this. Not every emotion deserves action. You can feel anger without speaking harshly. You can feel sadness without giving up. You can feel fear without running away. Emotions are temporary visitors. You do not have to obey all of them. A young boy once watched his grandfather sit quietly during a stressful family argument. Later he asked, "Grandfather, weren't you angry?" The old man replied, "Yes. But anger is a spark. If I feed it, it becomes fire." That wisdom is powerful. Most destruction begins with small emotional reactions that grow uncontrollably. Learn to observe emotions without becoming controlled by them. That is emotional maturity. The calmer you become, the less people can manipulate you. Manipulation works through emotional reactions. If someone can make you angry easily, they control you. If someone can destroy your peace with words, they control you. A wise merchant once dealt with rude customers every day. But no matter how aggressive people became, he stayed calm. Someone finally asked him, "How do insults never affect you?" He replied, "Because I decide my value. I do not let strangers decide it for me." That is freedom. The moment you stop needing validation from the world, your peace becomes untouchable. Many people are exhausted not physically, but mentally. Too much comparison. Too much worry. Too much noise. A traveler once carried unnecessary items during a long journey. Heavy bags. Extra clothes. Worthless objects. Eventually, he became too tired to continue. An old guide looked at him and said, "Your problem is not the journey. Your problem is the weight you refuse to release." Your mind works the same way. Some of you are carrying anger, resentment, fear, jealousy, regret. And it is draining your peace. Let go of what no longer serves you. Calmness requires emotional lightness. Stoicism also teaches humility. Life can change quickly. The proud can become weak. The rich can become poor. The famous can become forgotten. A successful athlete once mocked weaker competitors constantly. But after an injury ended his career, everything changed. Suddenly, the same people he mocked ignored him. During that difficult season, he finally understood the importance of humility. Calm people do not feel the need to act superior. True confidence is quiet. You must also learn the power of breathing slowly. When emotions rise, breathing changes. Fear creates shallow breathing. Anger creates aggressive breathing. But calm breathing creates calm thinking. A soldier once survived dangerous situations because of one habit his commander taught him: slow your breathing before making decisions. That simple practice saved his life many times. When stress enters your life, pause. Breathe slowly. Relax your mind. Then respond calmly. Sometimes peace begins with one deep breath. There will be moments when life feels unfair. You may give your best and still fail. You may treat people kindly and still get betrayed. This reality frustrates many people. But Stoics accepted that life is not always fair. A hard-working farmer once lost his crops during a terrible storm. His neighbors complained endlessly and cursed their luck. But the farmer calmly began planting again. Someone asked, "How can you stay calm after losing everything?" The farmer replied, "Complaining will not rebuild the field." That is resilience. Calm people focus on solutions, not endless complaints. One of the greatest forms of strength is emotional restraint. Not saying everything you feel. Not reacting to every offense. Not proving yourself constantly. A lion does not roar at every animal in the jungle. It remains calm because it knows its strength. Weak people seek attention constantly. Strong people move quietly. A young man once spent hours online arguing with strangers every day. It consumed his peace completely. One evening, his older brother told him, "You are giving your energy to people who do not deserve it." That truth hit him deeply. Protect your attention carefully. Attention is life energy. Where your attention goes, your peace follows. Stoicism teaches that discipline creates confidence. People often wait to feel motivated. But motivation is unreliable. Discipline is stronger. A musician once practiced daily for years even when nobody supported him. Rain or shine, he continued. At first, progress felt slow. But eventually, his skill became extraordinary. People called him talented. But what they called talent was actually discipline. Calmness grows through repeated practice. The more you control your reactions daily, the stronger your mind becomes. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is forgive. Not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. A man once carried hatred toward an old friend for many years. Every time he remembered the betrayal, anger consumed him. One day, an old monk told him, "Hatred is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer." That sentence changed him forever. Forgiveness does not erase the past. It releases you from carrying it forever. And peace becomes possible again. Your environment shapes your mind more than you realize. Negative environments create negative thinking. A young plant placed in darkness grows weak and unhealthy. But placed under sunlight, it becomes strong. Humans are the same. Choose environments that strengthen your peace. Choose friends who bring wisdom instead of drama. Choose habits that strengthen your mind instead of weakening it. A young man once left a toxic group of friends who constantly encouraged chaos and negativity. At first he felt lonely. But slowly his life improved. His mind became calmer. His goals became clearer. His confidence became stronger. Sometimes peace requires distance. The Stoics also understood the importance of simplicity. Complicated lives create complicated minds. A wise teacher once lived in a tiny room with very few possessions. A visitor looked around and asked, "Where are all your things?" The teacher smiled and asked, "Where are yours?" The visitor replied, "I'm only passing through." The teacher nodded gently. "So am I." That is a deep truth about life. Everything is temporary. Do not become too attached to things that cannot last forever. One day, you will realize that calmness is not something you pretend to have. It is something you build. Through discipline. Through suffering. Through patience. Through self-control. A calm person was not born calm. They trained themselves. Every difficult moment became practice. Every painful experience became a lesson. Every challenge became an opportunity to grow stronger internally. And eventually, they became unshakable. That is the goal. Not perfection. Mastery. So when life becomes chaotic, remain centered. When others panic, stay grounded. When the world tries to steal your peace, protect it with everything you have. Because your calmness is your power. Your peace is your strength. And the person who masters themselves becomes unstoppable. There is a level of peace that most people never reach. Not because it is impossible, but because they never train their minds long enough to find it. They react too quickly. They quit too early. They allow emotions to control every decision. But Stoicism teaches patience with yourself. Growth is slow. A sculptor once spent months carving a massive block of stone. People passing by laughed because they saw no progress. But every single day, the sculptor continued carefully shaping the stone little by little. Then one day, the masterpiece finally appeared. Everyone admired it. But they did not understand something important. The masterpiece was created through small daily actions nobody respected in the beginning. Your mind works the same way. Every time you stay calm during stress, you shape your character. Every time you choose patience over anger, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you control your emotions, you become wiser. Inner peace is built quietly. You must also understand that suffering often comes from expectations. People expect life to be easy. They expect people to behave perfectly. They expect success to happen quickly. And when reality disappoints them, they become angry. A traveler once entered a desert expecting comfort and luxury. Because of those expectations, every difficulty frustrated him deeply. Another traveler entered the same desert expecting challenge. Because he expected hardship, he stayed calm and prepared mentally. Both men faced the same journey. But their mindset changed everything. Stoicism teaches realistic thinking. Life will test you. People will disappoint you. Some days will hurt. But if you expect challenges as part of life, they stop shocking you. And calmness becomes easier. The strongest people are not emotionless. They simply do not allow emotions to control their actions. A firefighter once entered a burning building to save a trapped child. Was he afraid? Of course. But he remained calm enough to think clearly. That calmness saved lives. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is disciplined action despite fear. Remember this whenever life becomes difficult. You do not need to feel fearless. You only need to stay steady. Comparison destroys peace faster than almost anything else. People constantly compare their money, their appearance, their success, their relationships. And because of that, they never feel satisfied. A young artist once stopped painting because he became obsessed with comparing himself to others online. Every day he felt worse. One evening, his mentor told him, "When you compare constantly, you stop hearing your own voice." That truth changed him. Your journey is unique. Different timing. Different struggles. Different purpose. Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Calmness grows when you focus on your own path. Many people fear silence because silence forces them to face themselves. Noise becomes an escape. Constant entertainment. Constant scrolling. Constant distraction. But deep peace requires reflection. A philosopher once spent hours sitting beside a quiet lake every morning. Someone asked, "Why do you sit there doing nothing?" The philosopher smiled and answered, "I am not doing nothing. I am training my mind to become still." A still mind is powerful. Because when your mind becomes still, you stop reacting impulsively. You begin seeing life more clearly. One of the greatest signs of maturity is learning when to let things go. Not every disappointment needs revenge. Not every betrayal needs retaliation. Sometimes peace is found in release. A man once carried burning coals in his hands, hoping to throw them at his enemy. But before he could throw them, the coals burned his own hands badly. That is what resentment does. Hatred harms the person carrying it. Stoicism teaches release. Not because others always deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom from emotional poison. You must learn to become comfortable with uncertainty. Life will never give you complete control. And that scares many people. A sailor cannot control the ocean. A farmer cannot control the rain. A human cannot control every outcome. But calm people adapt. A pilot once faced terrible turbulence during a flight. Passengers panicked. But the pilot remained focused and calm because he understood something important. Panic never improves the situation. That lesson applies to life too. Stress often makes problems heavier. Calmness makes solutions easier to see. Some people lose themselves trying to impress others. They wear masks constantly. Pretending. Performing. Seeking approval. But pretending is exhausting. A young man spent years acting tough because he wanted respect from others. But inside, he constantly felt anxious and empty. One day, an older mentor told him, "Peace begins when you stop performing and start being honest with yourself." That truth changed his life. Authenticity creates peace. When you stop pretending to be someone else, your soul relaxes. Stoicism teaches that every challenge contains a lesson. Nothing is completely wasted. Pain teaches strength. Failure teaches wisdom. Loss teaches appreciation. A woman once lost everything during a difficult season of life. At first she believed her life was over. But slowly, she rebuilt herself stronger than before. Years later she admitted, "The pain I hated most became the lesson I needed most." Many blessings arrive disguised as difficulties. That is why calmness matters. When you stay calm, you can see the lesson hidden inside the struggle. Your habits shape your destiny. Small daily choices become your future life. A man who becomes angry daily eventually develops a destructive personality. A man who practices calmness daily eventually develops inner strength. A gardener does not grow flowers in one day. But daily care creates beauty over time. Protect your habits carefully. What you repeat becomes who you are. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Not every accusation deserves defense. Not every misunderstanding deserves explanation. A wise teacher was once falsely criticized publicly. Everyone expected him to argue back. But he stayed silent. Later, one of his students asked, "Why didn't you defend yourself?" The teacher replied, "Truth does not panic." That sentence holds deep power. People who know themselves deeply do not feel the need to explain themselves constantly. Calmness speaks louder than desperation. The older you become, the more you realize how valuable peace truly is. More valuable than attention. More valuable than popularity. More valuable than temporary pleasure. A retired businessman once said, "When I was young, I sacrificed peace to chase money. Now I would sacrifice money to protect peace." That realization comes to many people too late. Protect your inner world now. Do not wait until exhaustion teaches you what wisdom could have taught earlier. There will be moments when nobody understands your journey. Moments when you feel alone. Moments when progress feels invisible. Do not lose heart. A seed buried underground probably feels forgotten. But beneath the surface, growth is happening silently. Just because people cannot see your progress does not mean progress is not happening. Stay patient with yourself. The Stoics believed every morning was an opportunity to begin again. Yesterday's mistakes do not have to control today. A prisoner once spent years regretting his past decisions. One day, an older inmate told him, "If you keep staring at the closed door behind you, you will never notice the open door ahead." That sentence changed his thinking forever. Your future still exists. Do not destroy today carrying yesterday endlessly. Peace is not found by controlling the world. Peace is found by controlling yourself. That is the heart of Stoicism. You cannot stop every storm. But you can learn how to remain steady within it. You cannot stop people from speaking badly about you. But you can stop allowing their words to control your emotions. You cannot avoid every painful moment. But you can choose how you respond. And that choice changes everything. So as you move through life, move calmly. Think carefully. Protect your peace. Speak with wisdom. Walk away from unnecessary chaos. And never forget this truth. The strongest person is not the loudest. Not the richest. Not the most feared. The strongest person is the one who remains calm when life tries to shake them. Most people wait for the world to become peaceful before they allow themselves to feel calm. But that day never comes. There will always be noise. Always pressure. Always uncertainty. Stoicism teaches that peace is an internal decision. A monk once lived beside a loud marketplace filled with shouting merchants and endless chaos. Someone asked him, "How can you meditate peacefully in a place like this?" The monk smiled and replied, "Because true silence is not the absence of noise. It is the absence of chaos within." That is a powerful truth. Your environment may not always be peaceful. But your mind can still become steady. One of the biggest reasons people lose calmness is because they try to control everything. Every outcome. Every person. Every situation. But life does not work that way. A man once tried holding water tightly in his hands. The harder he squeezed, the faster the water escaped. An old wise man watching nearby said, "Some things can only be held gently." Life is like that. The more desperately you try to control everything, the more anxiety you create. Calmness comes from trust. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust in your ability to survive difficulties. Trust that not every answer must arrive immediately. Sometimes your greatest growth happens during lonely seasons. Moments when nobody claps for you. Nobody notices your effort. Nobody understands your struggles. A young writer spent years creating stories that nobody read. Many nights he wanted to quit. But instead of becoming bitter, he continued quietly improving his craft. Years later, one of his books changed millions of lives. Success often grows in silence first. Do not lose peace during seasons of invisibility. The roots grow before the tree appears. You must learn the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is emotional. Response is thoughtful. A reaction happens instantly. A response comes from awareness. A student once accidentally spilled ink over an important document belonging to his teacher. Terrified, he expected shouting and punishment. But the teacher calmly cleaned the table and said, "Mistakes can be corrected. Panic only creates more damage." That moment taught the student more than any lecture ever could. Calm people respond wisely instead of reacting emotionally. That skill changes relationships, decisions, and entire lives. The Stoics believe that your character matters more than your reputation. Reputation is what people think about you. Character is who you truly are. And people's opinions change constantly. A wise judge once lost popularity because he refused to make dishonest decisions that pleased powerful people. Many criticized him. But years later, history remembered him with respect because he protected his integrity. Never sacrifice your peace trying to satisfy everyone. Protect your character more than your image. Some people become addicted to chaos because peace feels unfamiliar. They constantly create drama. Constantly seek conflict. Constantly chase emotional highs and lows. But a calm life is not boring. It is stable. A sailor who survives storms eventually learns to appreciate calm waters deeply. The same is true in life. Peace may feel strange at first if you are used to emotional chaos. But over time, you realize peace is freedom. Freedom from constant stress. Freedom from unnecessary suffering. Freedom from emotional exhaustion. There is strength in slowing down. Modern life pushes people to rush everything. Rush conversations. Rush success. Rush healing. Rush decisions. But rushing creates mistakes. A carpenter once spent extra time measuring carefully before cutting wood. An impatient apprentice laughed and said, "You waste too much time thinking." The carpenter smiled and replied, "Careful preparation saves painful correction." That wisdom applies everywhere. Slow down enough to think clearly. Fast emotions often create slow regrets. You do not have to attend every battle you are invited to. Some conflicts are distractions disguised as importance. A lion walking through the jungle does not stop to fight every barking animal. It continues moving toward its destination calmly. The moment you understand this, your peace increases dramatically. Not every criticism matters. Not every opinion deserves attention. Not every insult requires defense. Choose your battles wisely. Protect your energy. Stoicism also teaches gratitude for simple things. The ability to breathe. The ability to walk. Another sunrise. Another chance. A man once complained constantly about his old shoes until he met someone with no feet. That encounter changed his perspective forever. Many people focus so much on what they lack that they forget what they already have. Gratitude creates emotional balance. And emotional balance creates peace. There will be times when life humbles you. Moments when your plans collapse. Moments when your confidence shakes. Moments when you feel lost. Do not fear those moments. Sometimes life breaks arrogance to build wisdom. A proud warrior once believed he could never lose. Then one defeat shattered his ego completely. But that defeat also made him wiser, calmer, and more disciplined than ever before. Pain often teaches lessons success cannot. Stay humble during victories. Stay calm during losses. Both seasons will pass. The calmer you become, the sharper your intuition becomes. Emotional noise clouds judgment. But calmness creates clarity. A hunter once explained to his son why he remained silent before making important decisions. When the water is disturbed, he said, you cannot see clearly through it. But when the water becomes still, everything becomes visible. Your mind works the same way. Stillness reveals truth. That is why calm people often make better decisions. Another Stoic principle is accepting criticism without collapsing emotionally. Not all criticism is hatred. Sometimes it is guidance. A sculptor once welcomed feedback from a harsh mentor who constantly corrected his work. Others thought the mentor was too strict. But years later, the sculptor became extraordinary because he learned how to improve without taking correction personally. Emotionally weak people reject all criticism. Emotionally strong people learn from it calmly. You must stop giving temporary situations permanent emotional power. Bad days happen. Failures happen. Embarrassing moments happen. But they are moments, not identities. A young athlete lost an important competition and believed his life was ruined. His coach told him, "One bad race does not define a runner." That sentence changed his mindset. Never let temporary pain convince you that your future is destroyed. Storms pass. Keep moving forward calmly. Many people think calmness means weakness. But true calmness requires enormous strength. Anybody can scream. Anybody can react emotionally. Anybody can lose control. But remaining composed under pressure? That requires mastery. A security guard once stopped a violent situation simply by staying calm while everyone else panicked. His steady presence helped others regain control too. Calmness is contagious. Your energy affects the people around you. A peaceful person can calm an entire room. One day, you will realize that peace is the foundation of a meaningful life. Without peace, success feels empty. Without peace, relationships become stressful. Without peace, even wealth feels heavy. That is why Stoics valued inner stability above everything else. Because when your mind is calm, life becomes clearer. You think better. You love better. You live better. So continue training your mind. Continue choosing patience. Continue protecting your peace. Continue mastering your emotions. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. The storms may continue. The pressure may continue. The uncertainty may continue. But a disciplined mind learns how to remain steady through all of it. And that is real power. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful Stoic wisdom and mindset lessons that will strengthen your mind and transform your life forever. And always remember this. A calm mind can survive any storm.